All right, welcome to another deep dive. Today we are diving headfirst into the career of Teyana Taylor. Um, I'm seeing a lot here that makes me think we've got a lot to unpack today. Singer, dancer, choreographer, actress, fashion designer. I mean, talk about a multi-talented artist. Wow. This deep dive, I think it's going to take us through some surprising twists and turns. So let's get right to it.
Yeah, what really strikes me is just how early she started out in the industry. Like, can you even imagine being 15 years old and already appearing in like a Jay-Z music video? I mean, that's exactly what happened with Beach Chair. It's almost like that moment was like this foreshadowing of what her future was going to look like.
15. I mean, gosh, I can't even imagine. Do you think starting that young, like in such a high-pressure industry, was that more of a help to her development as an artist or more of a hindrance?
Oh man, that is a complex question. On the one hand, obviously she's gaining experience and exposure that, most people wouldn't even dream of at that age. But at the same time, the entertainment industry is really, really tough. Finding your own voice when you're surrounded by all of that noise, especially when you're that young, it's got to be incredibly challenging, to say the least.
Yeah, that makes total sense. So she goes from that incredible experience straight into signing with Pharrell Williams' Star Trek Entertainment. I mean, that's a huge jump.
Mhm.
But then the sources say there were some unexpected delays with her debut album, huh?
Yeah, you're right. Delays like that, they happen all the time in the music industry. But when you're a young artist just starting out, I mean, it's such a, it's a really difficult time. There's so much uncertainty hanging in the air, and it can be really hard to kind of maintain that initial momentum and excitement that you have when you first start out.
So how does she handle all of that? I mean, did those delays, like, derail her? Or did she use that time to, like, fuel her creative fire?
Yeah. Well, that's what's so remarkable about Teyana Taylor. I mean, she didn't let those setbacks define her. She just kept working, she kept honing her craft. And when her debut album, Seventh, finally dropped in 2014, I mean, let me tell you, it really did make a statement.
And then, of course, there's Fade. That music video from Seventh, that was iconic. It wasn't just a music video. It was like a cultural moment. What do you think made Fade stand out so much? I mean, it was everywhere.
Oh, well, Fade, I mean, it showcased so much of Tayana's talent, not just as a dancer, but also as like a creative director. I mean, he really used that platform to explore some big themes. Self-love, Black femininity, female empowerment. I mean, it's all there.
Her dancing in that video, it was
Yeah.
just amazing, so fluid and powerful. And, I was reading that she's actually done choreography for some huge names like Beyonce and Chris Brown. I mean, can you tell us a little bit about her style as a choreographer? What makes her work so unique?
Her choreography, I mean, it's captivating. It's intricate. She somehow blends like athleticism and grace in a way that creates these like really powerful, visually stunning movements. I mean, it's no wonder she's so sought after. It's brilliant.
Okay, so we've got this incredible singer, a crazy talented choreographer, and then she releases her second album, K.T.S.E, and it's part of Kanye West's Wyoming sessions in 2018. And that album, it had a totally different sound from Seven, right?
Yes, totally. K.T.S.E had this like much more nostalgic, soulful vibe to it. She was kind of pulling from those classic 90s R&B sounds. I'm curious, like, what did you think about that shift in direction for her?
I mean, I thought it was really interesting how she was able to tap into those like 90s R&B vibes. I mean, tracks like Gonna Love Me, Rose in Harlem, they really showcase that sound. And I mean, that makes you think back to like those early career delays and how she really persevered through all that to maintain her musical vision. I mean, that's pretty impressive to me.
It really speaks to her evolution as an artist. She's not afraid to experiment, to try new things, and it's really cool to see. Which, kind of brings us to her 2020 album, The Album.
Okay, tell me about the album then.
The album, I think it's a real testament to her versatility. She blends R&B, soul, hip hop, even some reggae influences on that record. And the collaborations. I mean, Erykah Badu, Missy Elliott, Kehlani, it's like a who's who. I think this album felt like a real statement, like a declaration of her place in the music industry.
And then just when everyone thought she was really hitting her stride, she announces her retirement from music in 2021. I mean, what do you think was going on there? What was behind that decision, do you think?
It definitely caught a lot of people off guard. The music industry, it's demanding, it's a grind. Maybe she just needed a break, to refocus and prioritize her own well-being. I'm curious, how did you react when you heard about her retirement announcement?
I mean, I was surprised for sure, but, I also kind of admire her courage to walk away from something that maybe just wasn't serving her anymore. But, that wasn't the end of Tayana's creative journey. She had already kind of dipped her toes into acting before that, right?
Right. She had roles in films like Stomp the Yard, Homecoming, and The Trap. And after her retirement from music, she really dove headfirst into landing roles in some bigger productions, like, Coming to America with Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall. I mean, wow.
Wow, yeah, that's incredible. And we can't forget about her incredible style, from streetwear to high fashion. She always stands out. Didn't she even launch her own fashion line at some point?
Yes! Juliet by Teyana Taylor. It's all about empowering women, celebrating individuality. It's such a natural extension of her own personal style. And you know what? It's actually been really successful.
Oh, that's awesome to hear. You know, what really strikes me about Tayana is that she just always seems to stay true to herself no matter what she's doing. And there's one more aspect of her life that we really need to talk about, her family.
You're right. I mean, her marriage to Emin Shumpert and their two daughters, Junie and Rue, it adds another dimension to her story. They seem like such a loving and supportive family.
It is really inspiring to see them all supporting each other's careers and dreams. Like, it's a reminder that you don't always have to choose between personal happiness and professional success. You can have it all.
Absolutely, you can have it all. And that's something that Tayana really, I think, embodies. She's a mother, a wife, an artist, an entrepreneur, and she just seems to navigate it all with grace and authenticity. It's quite remarkable.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground already, from those early days in a Jay-Z video to her surprise retirement and her successful ventures into acting and fashion. Phew, it's been quite a journey so far.
It really has. And I think what's most fascinating to me is how she's redefined like what success actually means, but like on her own terms. It's not just about accolades or fame, it's about pursuing your passions, prioritizing your well-being, and just staying true to yourself like at the end of the day.
And in a world that's constantly telling us that we have to like fit into a certain mold to be successful, Tayana's journey is it's so inspiring.
It really is. But there's still so much more that we could explore. When we come back, we'll delve a little deeper into the impact of her work and what her legacy might look like. I think it's going to be good.
I'm excited to dive back in. And we are back for more of the deep dive. We are spending this episode exploring the remarkable career of Teyana Taylor. And I got to say, I feel like the more we dig in, the more fascinating it gets. I mean, it's not just about her talent. It's really about how she's used her platform, to push boundaries and like really inspire people.
You hit the nail on the head there. It's her authenticity. It just shines through in everything she does. She's never been one to shy away from, expressing her vulnerabilities, celebrating her Black identity, challenging these norms. It's incredible.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not just about the music. It's not just about the dance moves. It's really about the message, especially for young Black women who maybe don't always see themselves represented in, mainstream media.
Exactly. She's become this powerful advocate for like self-love, body positivity, like by just embracing her natural hair, her curves, her cultural heritage. I mean, she's showing everyone that it's okay to be exactly who they are.
I mean, that message is so important, especially, in an industry that's always trying to like put people into boxes, make them fit in. She's proving that. Like, you don't have to conform to achieve your dreams. Let's go back to her music for a minute, though. We talked about her evolution as an artist, but I'm curious, like, what about the critics? How has her music been received by them? Did that shift in sound from CF to K.T.S.E, did that resonate with audiences? Did people like it? What happened?
It's really interesting. The Save Up was a very raw, emotional album. And then K.T.S.E had those like nostalgic 90s vibes. Both albums were well received, but they definitely appealed to different like sensibilities, I guess you could say. And then you've got the album, which was just this incredible fusion of styles and collaborations. I mean, it was really all over the place.
Yeah, it's like she's constantly pushing the boundaries, right?
Yeah.
Like experimenting with all these different genres and sounds.
Yeah.
Do you think that's part of like what makes her so compelling as an artist?
Absolutely. She's just not afraid to take risks, to evolve, to like really challenge herself creatively. And you know what? That's something that audiences really respond to. They see an artist who's like not afraid to be vulnerable, who's willing to like get out there and experiment, and who's, constantly growing.
Yeah, it's true. And, we talked about those early career delays that she faced. And I mean, honestly, in her shoes, it would have been so easy to just kind of give up, lose that drive. But she didn't.
It's true. Her story is like a testament to the power of resilience.
Hmm.
She did not let those setbacks define her, and instead she used them as like fuel to push forward, to refine her craft and to come back even stronger. I mean, wow.
It's a good reminder for all of us, right? Like
Yeah.
that the road to success it's not always linear. It's not always a straight line. There are going to be bumps along the way. But, it's about how you navigate those challenges, those bumps that really shapes your journey. And speaking of challenges, her decision to, like, retire from music, like, at what seemed like the peak of her career, I mean, that had to be such a difficult choice to make.
I mean, it was a decision that really did surprise a lot of people. And, some folks even questioned her motives, wondering why she would walk away from something that she was like so clearly good at.
Yeah, it's easy to get, caught up in that whirlwind of success.
Hmm.
The pressure to just keep pushing, keep achieving, keep going, going, going. But it sounds like, she made a conscious choice to, like, step back, take a breath, and really think about what was truly important to her, what she really wanted.
Yeah, exactly. It's a reminder to us all that success isn't just about external validation. It's about like finding that inner peace and fulfillment, like really prioritizing your well-being and defining success like on your own terms.
Yeah, she's proven that you can walk away from something, even something as huge as a music career, and still like find success and happiness in other areas of your life,
Mm.
is really empowering. But as we've seen, that retirement from music, it didn't mean the end of her creative journey. She poured that energy into other things, like acting and fashion.
Her acting career really took off after that, after her music retirement. She started taking on more challenging roles, working with these like real industry veterans, showing everyone just how much range she has as an actress.
And her fashion line, Juliet by Teyana Taylor, it's a testament to her creativity and her commitment to really empowering women.
Mm.
It's all about like embracing individuality, expressing yourself through style. I love it.
I know, right? And I love that she's using her platform to like promote body positivity and self-love.
Hmm.
It's a message that resonates with so many people, especially those young women who are just bombarded with these unrealistic beauty standards every single day. It's a lot.
Okay, so we've talked about her music, we talked about her acting, her fashion, her impact as a role model, her commitment to authenticity,
Hmm.
and her decision to like really prioritize her well-being. It's clear that Teyana Taylor's legacy, it's multifaceted and it's continuing to evolve, right?
It really is. And, as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to leave you with this question, okay? What do you think Teyana Taylor's lasting impact will be? How will she be remembered? I mean, think about that.
That is a great question. You know what? When we come back, we will share our final thoughts on Teyana's legacy, and we'll leave you with a few things to think about as you continue to, explore her work. And we are back one last time for this deep dive. We've spent this whole episode like really exploring the many, many layers of Teyana Taylor's life and career. And honestly, I feel like we've just barely scratched the surface.
I know, right? I mean, there's so much there. I mean, think about it from her early start in the industry to that, like, surprise retirement and all of her ventures into acting and fashion. Teyana, she's consistently, like, blown past expectations and really blazed her own trail. It's impressive.
It really is. And we've talked about her impact as like a role model, like her fearlessness and expressing her authentic self and how she's committed to using her platform to empower others. It's really inspiring to see how she's dealt with all the complexities of fame
Hmm.
while still like staying true to her values. But before we wrap things up, I'm actually really curious to hear like what resonated most with you during our conversation? What aspects of her work really stood out to you?
That's a good question. I think for me, it's got to be her like unwavering dedication to, pushing those boundaries and challenging the status quo. Whether it's through her music or her dance, her fashion, or even her like outspoken advocacy, she keeps reminding us that it's more than okay to be different. It's okay to like embrace our individuality and to use our voices to make a difference. She's a powerful voice.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, she's never been afraid to take those risks, to experiment, to evolve, both as an artist and as just like a person.
Hmm.
And she does it all with like this grace and confidence that is just, it's contagious. And it's a really powerful reminder, I think, that we don't have to fit into some, predetermined mold to achieve success. We can do it our own way.
Exactly. And it's a message that I think resonates with so many people out there, especially young people who are like, trying to find their own way in the world. Tana shows us that it's okay to be bold, to be ambitious, and to just, go after your passions, like with everything you've got. Don't hold back.
And that sometimes, success means knowing when to like take a step back, you
Yep.
know, to really prioritize your well-being and to redefine what truly matters to you, what's important. Like her decision to retire from music, I mean, it was a surprise to a lot of people, but ultimately it was like this testament to her commitment to really living life on her own terms.
It does. It takes a lot of courage to walk away from something that you've, poured your heart and soul into, especially when you're at the top of your game. But, Tayana, she showed us that sometimes the greatest success, it comes from prioritizing our own happiness and fulfillment.
Okay, so as we're wrapping up this deep dive, I think it's really important to acknowledge that, Teyana Taylor's story, it's still being written.
Okay.
She's continuing to evolve, to inspire, and to like challenge us to think differently about, success, creativity, and really the power of authenticity.
I mean, it's true. And as we say goodbye for now, really want to thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the fascinating world of Tayana Taylor. There's so much to her.
There is. And you know what? There's always more to learn, more to discover, more to be inspired by. So keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep celebrating the stories that like really light your fire.
You got it.
Until next time, keep diving deep.